Hi. So it's Autism Acceptance / Awareness Month, April, which is when my birthday is too, so that's pretty cool. Um, I saw somebody use a torch, Minecraft stupid like little light up torch as a microphone, and I thought that was really cool, even though I'm not, but you know, I can't turn it on. Why? So, anyways, on April 16th, we got the best autism present ever from RFK Jr. You know, if you haven't seen it, here it is if I can figure out how to put it in the video.
These are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk from autistic people, non-autistic people, people who take care of autistic people, a lot of which has been valid, some of which I can kind of disagree with. And that's coming from someone who was told that they were autistic about 4.5 years ago, give or take a few months, I think. But I think there's a lot of autistic people like myself that, I don't know how to say it, like, I feel like growing up not knowing, it's given people like myself who can generally function within society, having autism and not knowing it for like the first 18 years of my life has really showed me a lot of what people think about autism when autistic people are not around. And I think that has definitely given people like myself a interesting perspective that isn't always like including the autistic people in our community that are a little bit more vulnerable than ourselves. I will say that. And this is not to shame any autistic people. I'm talking about myself in this. I'm talking about people like myself in this. And it sucks. But I feel like, okay, I'm just gonna like say it. Autistic people like myself have ignored the fact that we are disabled. Even if we say that we are autistic and acknowledge our autism, we completely try to disregard the disabling part of autism. And in a way, we also harm the more vulnerable people in our community in that way. When I first got diagnosed with autism, I was very happy, but it was also somewhat of a roller coaster as well. Like, I didn't know how to like react to it. And while I was happy to acknowledge that I had autism, I wasn't so keen to acknowledge that I was disabled, and it has disabled me, and it still does, and it always will to this day. And I think it's also like the gut reaction, the gut instinct of autistic people like myself who have blended into society for so long to just sweep aside the disability part of autism. Like, a big part of autism is that you are disabled. And that is really hard, I think, for a lot of autistic people who didn't know until later on in life that they are disabled, because we weren't treated like that, you know? And it sucks being treated like a disabled person, but that's what I am, you know? That's what you are if you're autistic and watching this. So, and now that I'm finally out of college, I don't know. I mean, it's been hard to grapple and like really adapt being an autistic person to the workforce, only working. I don't go to school anymore. And it really has shown me like how disabled I truly am. I am not nearly as high support needs as a lot of autistic people in the community. And I think that does need to be recognized. Like, I am still privileged in the fact that people tell me all the time, like, if you never said that you had autism, I'd have never known, you know? And that is a privilege in some way. But it's also somewhat of a double-edged sword because people don't automatically see me as a disabled person until I tell them I don't want to see myself as a disabled person, even though I say all the time, like, oh, I'm disabled, I'm happy to be disabled, but I don't want to act like that, you know? And it's been really hard trying to accept the fact that there are just things I cannot do. Like, yeah, I can work now, I can go to a job, but will I be able to do that in 2, 3, 5 years? I don't know. I know now that going to a job and not working remotely is not sustainable for me. But that's a really hard thing to deal with too, especially since so many jobs are still in person, not remote. And I've gotten like some comments about like, oh, well, if you worked remotely, you'd never leave your house. No, if I worked remotely, I'd want to leave my house after work. I'd want to do other things than just lay in bed and crochet and bed rot and just not do anything or talk to people because I'm too worn out to do it. You know, I thought for so long that I could just work and not get accommodations, but without accommodations, I lose my mind, you know? And I guess another part of this was like seeing how autistic kids in school reacted to the autistic kids, especially those who did well, but who were known to be autistic. There was one kid in high school, he was a tuba player. He was an amazing tuba player, and he got like the top seat in all the bands in high school. And everyone was so mad about that. They were so mad that, oh, well, I don't understand why he got that. They're just being nice. They just want to, you know, be kind to the autistic kid. I'm sorry, what? You're telling me that he practices all the time and he got the top spot, and yet you think you deserve the top spot because you're not autistic, even though you do literally nothing to make yourself even remotely better at playing the tuba? Or the fact that, like, there are autistic kids at school who, you know, got 24 or higher on the ACT, and then you had these non-autistic kids being so mad about that they didn't score as high on the ACT or the SAT than, you know, the autistic kids who are supposed to be mentally disabled. Like, yeah, we are, but like, I'm not dumb. Autistic people aren't automatically dumb because we have a
This is an
disability.
individual tragedy as well. Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are our children.
It's so hard, I feel like, being a lower support needs autistic and trying your best to just fit in because you know how so many people think about, you know, autism in general, that we are useless. And I think RFK Jr. really encompasses a lot of what people think about autism, that it ruins families and it ruins lives. I mean, like, there are things I have not liked about having autism, but the worst part has been the way other people react to my autism and don't accommodate me. It's not the autism itself. In fact, I do kind of like being autistic in a lot of ways. 100% autism does affect your personality. It's in your head. It's all in your head. Of course it is. It's literally dictates the way your brain is like shaped. So it has, you know, it's given me such a strong sense of justice, and honestly, I wouldn't want to like not have that. I feel like that makes me like really strong-willed, and it's really made it so I've cared a lot more about understanding what's right or learning about what is right and what is wrong. But what I have learned from a lot of higher support needs autistics in the community is that a lot of autistic people like me try to really downplay the problems. I don't want to say problems, the disabling part of autism. Like, autism is not all sunshine and rainbow. You can't just nitpick. And while I don't want kids now, I do want kids at some point. And given the vast amount of research, like, autism is primarily, in my opinion, I genuinely believe the whole, like, it is genetic. I know where my autism comes from. I've said things that I've regretted, and it's because I don't understand social cues like other people, and I feel like I wish I just should have known better, but it's hard. It's such a hard thing to navigate, the way autism affects us, whether you're the lowest of low needs autistics or the highest support needs autistics. Like, there are good and bad things, and I hate the way people like RFK Jr. talk about autism like it's some sort of disease. And the way he was talking about it, by the way, was like so far out of left field. Like, we can talk about autism as a disability, how it affects us negatively. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of autistic people will be able to use a toilet by themselves in their lifetime. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I think that's kind of how it works. And to all the people who are like, oh, there was nowhere near this many autistic people when I was a kid, now we understand more about autism, though. We're born like this. Having an autism diagnosis doesn't mean you're not autistic. It just means that you don't know, or that it's not confirmed by a psychologist or psychiatrist. I know how I felt before I knew I had autism. And I remember this like one distinct moment. There was a video I made of myself that I saved just for myself. No one has ever saw it before. And I was just like, I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong with me. And there's not. But knowing that that's how I felt is just, I don't know. Anyway, I hope I am able to piece this into a coherent video that makes sense. I mean, I should be able to if I have the brain power to, but I don't think the ADHD medication is working as well as it should, honestly. So, yeah. Happy Autism Awareness Month. Hopefully our society does not regress when it comes to accepting autistic people.